I had breakfast this morning with my girlfriend Hetty to celebrate my upcoming 40-something birthday. We sat in a gazebo restaurant on a beach in Maui, surrounded by palm trees and soft tropical air, and all we could talk about was aging and facelifts. Hetty qualified as my plastic surgery expert, having had her eyes and boobs done in her 30s and a full facelift in her early 40s. She's 53 now and gearing up for her next round of surgery. After inspecting my face, she said, "If you just get your eyes done now, it might look like you put a brand new couch on a worn-out carpet. Wait for a few years until the whole face starts to go and get it done all at once." She continued, "You're at the age when it all still looks good, but one day and one day soon, you're going to look in the mirror and realize it's all gone to hell." "Happy birthday to me," I said, and retreated to my macadamia nut pancakes, wondering if she was right and hoping she was wrong. It never occurred to me to have plastic surgery until very recently. I was one of those women who always took her looks for granted. I assumed I would somehow be exempt from the aging process, wouldn't care by the time I got there, or would die young. I was always secretly a bit contemptuous of women who had cosmetic surgery, thinking them vain and insecure. It has since come to my attention that whatever I have contempt for, I should just set a place for it at my table. Because it's either already in my life or it's coming. When I was a teenager, I had contempt for people who drank and used drugs, girls who suffered from eating disorders, and women who lost all their money in connection with some man. After 17 years in recovery from alcoholism and bulimia, and having lost all my money in what I call my spectacular codependent bottom of 2000, with the help of my gambling addict ex-stockbroker turned mattress salesman boyfriend, it has dawned on me that I can use my contempt, which is really just my fear, to predict my future, or better yet, to change it. A few months ago, I broke up with a younger man, let's call him Brad, since it rhymes with cad, who lives in LA and works in the music business. He was another never been married or had a successful relationship 40-year-old man boy who lies about his age from Hollywood. In retrospect, this should have been all the information I needed to stay away from him. I wanted a mate, not just a date. But he was sexy as hell, and I had been in a penis-free zone for too long. Thinking that, this time somehow it would be different, I used all my powers of denial to ignore the red flags and charged ahead. I figured if I moved fast enough, it wouldn't count as a mistake. Like if I eat a chocolate bar fast enough, it won't have any calories. My favorite definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results, and this certainly qualified. Not unlike the main character of the movie Groundhog Day, I seemed destined to relive the same relationship over and over until I was willing to change my behavior. My first moment of clarity came during the holiday season when I was giving Brad a blowjob and realized I didn't know him well enough to know what to get him for Christmas. I thought this was ironic, but when I told him, he said, "Yes, that is a problem around the holidays, isn't it?" My girlfriends, on the other hand, understood. My next clue should have been when we were making love and he whispered, "Women your age can't get pregnant, can they?" I thought to myself, they shoot assholes, don't they? But I was still having enough fun to overlook his comment. The last time I saw him was when he casually mentioned, "I want to marry somebody exactly like you, only younger." This is not something that I will ever need to hear more than once, so I said good luck with that, gathered my belongings, and left. Brad was like an abbreviated version of my love affair with drinking. At first it was fun, then it was fun with problems, and finally just problems. I stopped drinking years ago, but I still fall into the occasional manhole. At least I don't set up house and furnish it anymore. I was never a serial dater, but I was a serial mater. So after hooking up with the wrong person, I would either marry him or spend years trying to make it work. Now I can usually fall into and out of a manhole in about 6 weeks tops. Once in a while, I can even walk around one. I call this expiration dating, relationships that last about as long as a carton of refrigerated soy milk. My married with children, mental health professional sister, Robin, describes my dating as Wendy's catch and release program. I used to think this was funny until I realized that I was guilty of the very thing that I accuse men of. The possibility of a man is more interesting to me than the man himself. If I settle on someone, then the possibility is lost. When I drank, I chose men who drank more than I did so they could be identified as the ones in need of help, and I didn't have to look at my own behavior. This thinking has clearly followed me into sobriety. So who's really on the hook here? And what is it that I'm really fishing for? The day after walking away from Brad, my OBGYN called to tell me that I was in perimenopause. Menopause. The coincidence wasn't lost on me, but I was startled. How did this happen? What did this mean? Not surprisingly, my first concern was not the ability to lose, not losing the ability to have children or getting osteoporosis, but the sudden onset and appearance of aging. My doctor assured me that other than irregular periods, I didn't have any symptoms of menopause yet, and that I was going to age along the same progression that I always have. If I look 10 years younger than I am now, in 10 years, I'm still likely to look 10 years younger than I will be. I wonder what 40-something looks like at 50-something. Well, I know now. Still, I was somewhat shocked by my reaction. Is the reality of aging really that disturbing to me, or am I freaking out about menopause and using the idea of cosmetic surgery as yet another way to avoid truly being and seeing me? Sometimes it feels as though I'm on a blind date with myself and I'm too shy to look up or speak. Do I really need to see my beauty reflected in the face of another to feel that I'm loved? My artist friend Tim says that a death of an idea for painting begins with the first brush stroke. By the time the painting is finished, it has become something that may not even resemble the original idea. Having been created, it then becomes a thing on its own, with a life of interpretation independent of the creator. Perhaps my perceptions of men, menopause, and myself are like that, just reflections of the death of my old ideas that are now subject to the interpretation of my observer. The idea that I need a man in my life in order to feel beautiful, the idea of what getting older will mean, and the idea that my value as a woman is dependent upon my looks. So maybe I'll get that eye job, and maybe I won't. But whatever I do, I'll know that beauty lies in the eye of the beholder, and the beholder that matters is me. Thanks.